A huge show today, major breaking news, so much breaking news. The Senate passing Trump's big beautiful bill just moments ago. CNN to be prosecuted for helping illegal aliens evade law enforcement. Also, President Trump dropping massive news this morning while visiting Alligator Alcatraz for its grand opening. Will illegal undocumented migrants be counted in next year's census, the 2026 census? The president saying no, saying Republicans in the House and Senate have been working behind the scenes on this. They've been already working on this. You can't overemphasize the massive political earthquake this would cause. We're going to explain what's happening, why the latest SCOTUS ruling apparently has changed the game, and more stories as well from around the country. But before we get started, thank you for liking and sharing these videos. It really helps out the channel. And consider subscribing if you appreciate these regular updates.
See if we can prosecute them for that, because what they're doing is actively encouraging people to avoid law enforcement activities, operations, and we're going to actually go after them.
DHS Secretary Kristi Noem telling reporters this morning that CNN will be prosecuted for helping illegals evade law enforcement, evade ICE during deportation operations. That CNN, she says, has been airing segments helping educate illegals how to find and download the ICE Block app.
And Madam Secretary, CNN yesterday pushed an app that lets you track where ICE agents are. Tom Homan was saying that perhaps CNN should be prosecuted for that.
Okay with me.
Of law enforcement, your response.
Yeah, we're working with the Department of Justice to see if we can prosecute them for that, because what they're doing is actively encouraging people to avoid law enforcement activities, operations, and we're going to actually go after them and prosecute them with the partnership of PAM if we can, because what they're doing, we believe, is illegal.
And they may be prosecuted also for having given false reports on the attack in Iran.
Yes.
They were given totally false reports. It was totally obliterated, and our people have to be celebrated, not come home and say, what do you mean we didn't hit the target? We hit the target perfect. The pilots came home and they said, we hit the target perfect. So they may be very well prosecuted for that. What they did there we think is totally illegal. Okay, let's go. Follow us. You know, since your boyfriend, very lucky.
That helps illegals avoid ICE and tips them off on upcoming raids that are going to happen, and basically where heavy ICE presence has been noted in their neighborhoods. This was one of the segments that CNN did on this. Roll the tape.
The Trump administration steps up ICE raids and mass deportations. One tech developer is pushing back with an app designed to track ICE activity in real time. It's called ICE Block, and it's controversial to say the least. CNN's Claire Duffy is with us now. How does this work, Claire, and what are the legal implications?
Yeah, John, I talked with Joshua Aaron, who is the longtime tech worker who developed this platform, and he said he really wants it to be an early warning system for people about the location of immigrations and customs enforcement officers. So he says he does not want people interfering with those officers' activity, but he does want people to be able to avoid them altogether if they want. So you open the app, it looks like a map, and users can tap the map to report an ICE sighting in their area, and then everybody who uses the platform within 5 miles of that sighting will get a push alert. This is a free iPhone app. It is anonymous. Aaron says he doesn't collect any user data.
It sounds like Waze for illegals. If you never used Waze, it's an alternative to Google Maps. It gives you directions when you're driving, but it tips you off on where police are, so you avoid the radar traps. Personally, I love Waze. I use it all the time. Let me know if you think CNN publicizing this new app reaches the level of aiding and abetting. Let me know what you think. President Trump traveling down to the Sunshine State, to the great state of Florida this morning, visiting and touring Alligator Alcatraz, the new one-stop shop for securing, housing, and deporting the worst of the worst illegals CBP obtains. We did a whole video on this a few days ago. This place is awesome. Ron DeSantis building it in 8 days, converting an empty, abandoned airstrip in the center of the Everglades into this, a ready-to-go ICE detention facility using Mother Nature as its security perimeter, filling the moat around this facility with alligators, extra alligators. It includes an airstrip to easily deport these people and houses 5,000 illegals, 5,000 beds at present. But the best part is using emergency powers to grant National Guard judges the ability to fast track these deportation hearings. Watch this.
This is we're offering up our National Guard and other folks in Florida to be deputized to be immigration judges. We're working with the Department of Justice for the approvals. I'm sure Pam will approve. But then I'll have a National Guard judge advocate here. Someone has a notice to appear. Biden would tell them to come back in 3 years and appear. Now you'll be able to appear in like a day or two, so they're not going to be detained hopefully for all that long. We'll have people here in this facility that can make, it's a bureaucracy. The president's got to deal with the bureaucracy. Now that Supreme Court ruling was good because that's going to allow him to be able to exercise Article 2 the way founders intended, but you still have bureaucracy. So we want to cut through that so that we have an efficient operation between Florida and DHS to get the removal of these illegals done.
Yeah, I'd say that's a great idea. Under the last administration, they'd let illegals free into the country with a court date up to 7 years. 7 years into the future. Why didn't they do this sooner? We all know why. The cat's out of the bag at this point. The jig is up because Dems knew that with sanctuary state policies, it would attract the millions of illegals into their states. Then because illegals are counted in the census, it proportions more congressional seats to those states. Likewise, the states with the most people get proportioned more electoral votes. That's why California has the highest number of electoral votes, 54 electoral votes, way more than any other state. And this question, should illegals be counted in the census, may be about to change. President Trump dropping the ultimate bombshell this morning, saying no, illegals will not be counted in the 2026 census, saying Republicans in the House and Senate have been working on this behind the scenes, which is huge news. Nobody knew this was happening. Here's President Trump. Here's what he just said. Watch.
How many Americans with proof of citizenship are in our area, in our country, redistricting some of the House districts? Your thoughts on that?
Well, I'll speak for both of us. We love it. Okay, you're going to like this one. I know all about it. We want to bring our elections back. The election in 2020 was rigged, millions and millions of votes. It had to do with COVID and a lot of things, but it really had to do with the crooked people. The Democrats are very good at cheating on elections. And that's why I said too big to rig. They tried this one too. But after about 9:02, they gave up too many votes, too big to rig. Ron would love it. I would love it. Christie would love it. That's what they have to do. They have to bring it back. And we have to look, Ron, they include anybody that happens to be in your state.
Well, California would lose like 5 seats if they did a fair census. And even beyond that, the Biden census gypped Florida of at least 1 seat. We only got 1 seat in the last census. Are you trying to tell me that Florida only had 1 seat in that? We should have had at least 2. Texas should have had another one. That could be the difference in the House of Representatives in the majority. So I would love for them to redo the census for 26. My legislature will redistrict those lines. We'll get it to where it's fair. But as it's right now, this country is not fairly apportioned. I've got so many more millions of people in Florida that have representation because of that flawed census.
Mr. President, I think it's going to do very well. A lot of people, I don't know if you've heard about it, it's captivated the country. Everybody wants it. It's going to get in. It's going to pass. And we're going to be.
We saw what happened the last time Trump tried doing this during his first term. It set off a thermonuclear bomb in D.C., a political earthquake is what it was. On July 21st, 2020, Trump signed an executive order or an executive memorandum directing his then Secretary of Commerce to exclude undocumented migrants from the census count used for apportioning congressional seats. The goal was obviously to prevent states with large undocumented populations from gaining additional representation. Dems sued the Trump administration during his first term to block this, and a New York federal judge blocked it, overruled the memorandum. Well, what just happened last week? The Supreme Court said courts can no longer invoke nationwide injunctions, blocking executive action nationally. This question will ultimately be answered by the Supreme Court, but this is 100% on the agenda, and it should be. Get this, it's estimated if illegals weren't counted in the census, Dems stand to lose up to 20 congressional seats. And who knows how many electoral votes. This is clearly the reason the Biden administration opened the border.